Okay, frustrating loss down in San Diego, well, not in San Diego, versus San Diego State down in Carson on Saturday. Offensively, just couldn't get anything going until late in the game. Fortunately, we were able to find a spark late in the game and mount a comeback. Obviously, fell short in that comeback attempt, but saw some really good things out of Cam Rising when he came in, provided a spark. Not immediately, but after a couple of series, he settled in and did some really good things. Put up some good numbers for the quarter, a little over a quarter of play that he was in there for. Defensively, played well enough to win. I mean, you give up less than 250 yards and 12 first downs, you should win the football game. And but we didn't, obviously. And so we've got to continue working, trying to find an identity on offense, and that really is our primary issue right now. Lost Viana Moala for the season. That's going to be a season-ending injury, which is a blow to our defensive front. He was the leader of that defensive tackle group, but he's not going to be able to play anymore this year. Special teams-wise, some good, some bad. The punt return unit continues to be a big bright spot for us. Brett Covey brought one back, and we amassed 100-plus yards in the punt return game, which is outstanding. As good as that was, the kickoff coverage was that bad. We let another one out the gate, and that's unacceptable. We got to, needless to say, figure that out. And it was the same exact type of return, a break return, where they start one way and break it back across the field. And so we got to coach it better. We got to coach that better, and we're that's really, special teams wise, our Achilles heel right now is that kickoff coverage unit. So that's the long and short of it. Washington State coming in this week, coming off a loss to SC. They were playing well up early in the game. In fact, they had the ball in great field position, up 14-0, with the opportunity to go up 21-0, and then everything just started to turn and ended up getting beat handily. But they played well for a period of time, a quarter and a half, and had them on the ropes. But SC surged back and took control of the game, and so that was that. But got a home game. It's the Pac-12 opener, and so it's we're 0-0 in Pac-12 play. That's the mentality right now. Is we got a fresh start. The non-conference games went nothing like we expected or anticipated, and now we're on to conference play. So, questions?
Are you ready to announce the starting quarterback?
No, we won't do that. We have a solid idea what we're going to do, but we won't make any official announcement. And you just see him trot out there on Saturday at, what is it, 12:30 kick, I think it is.
Kyle, you talked about the offense needing an identity. Where do you think that stems from? Where do you go from there?
Well, that's a good question. That's the most important question we have in our program right now, and we haven't really been as physical running the football as we anticipated we were going to be. We're not throwing the football for as much production as we need to. We're not throwing it badly, but we're not getting out of it what we need to win games. Both sides of the line of scrimmage, the one thing, not to answer, not part of your question, but we played much better up front defensively in this last game than we certainly did the week before. But offensive line-wise, we still got improvements that we can make, and we're better talent-wise than what we're portraying on game day. And that's got to translate. We have got to portray and play to the level of our capabilities.
With that offensive line, you kind of made some adjustments when Cam came in as well.
Yeah.
How much of that is going to stay, and how much of that was maybe just Cam, or what was there?
That's another work in progress. We got to settle on the five, and we think we have a good handle on that right now after poring over the tape and the first three games of tape. We've studied everything meticulously, and we'll have a depth chart tomorrow for you. We'll announce that, and you'll see what we're thinking there.
I know that you guys were trying to throw the ball late in that fourth quarter when you guys did make that comeback, and so you guys went a little bit more up tempo, but it seemed to work. Are you guys thinking about maybe considering
Yep.
more
Something that you got to think about for sure. And it was productive for us, as you mentioned. And I don't think it's necessarily the answer to go fast an entire game, but you got to mix tempos up a little bit, and that's something that we also have to take a hard look at.
You think to run the ball, do you have to be consistent in your approach as far as how many times you're going to run it and run it with the same people, with the same personnel?
I would say there's some merit to that or some validity to that, but really you got to not make mental mistakes so your guys are getting hit in the backfield 4 yards deep in the backfield, and that's a bigger issue right now than the continuity of it or trying to get a consistency. We can't get any consistency because we're making mental errors and turning guys loose, and that's really our main problem right now in the run game is mental errors, and then pass protection. We're not holding up as well as we need to in pass protection either, and that goes back to needing to play better at the line of scrimmage.
What's the mentality of the team right now after the non-con didn't go like you thought it would, but as you mentioned, you still have an opportunity to do everything you wanted to do in conference?
Exactly. I don't think there's any signs of bad attitude, I guess you could say. Everybody's upbeat. Everyone's more angry and frustrated than they are despondent, and so we just got to come out and the one thing I did notice the first two games is things didn't go great early, so we kind of got the deer in the headlight look in our eyes. We can't do that. You got to fight for the full 60, and if things don't go well early, oh well, so what? Keep fighting. Keep playing and fight through the adversity. And nothing's easy at this level. Every week you line up, everything things are going to be hard. And it's hard to win a game, and so you got to be ready to stay focused and confident for the full 60 minutes.
I know there's no moral victories, but the fact that you guys battled back to a triple overtime that took a replay review to cancel out that 2-point conversion, was that encouraging?
It was. It was encouraging to see us get some, catch some fire on offense and get some confidence and see those guys move the ball like they did and compete. That was a very positive thing to have happen.
Are you guys thinking about making any changes at kicker, or do you still believe in what Jaden Wright?
Still believe in Jaden. He's he's 60% for the year. Was he 3 of 5? I believe he is, or 4 of 6, whatever, 66%. But he just missed he came off his toe, the PAT that we pushed to the right, and then he just didn't hit the other one like he usually does. And so we have Jordan Noyes as the number 2 guy. He's a solid kicker, but right now we're sticking with Jaden at least at this point in time.
Coach, how do you make sure that Jaden's confidence stays at the level he needs?
Well, he's a mentally tough kid, and kickers, you got to forget, kind of like corners, forget what happened and just move forward and rely on your fundamentals and your technique, and that's really what everyone needs to do. When stuff gets tough and you start hitting adversity in a game, you got to fall back on your fundamentals, your training. Just like the Navy SEAL thing. You talk about that's part of their training is when when the crap hits the fan, you go back to your training and understand what got you there and fight through it. So same mentality.
How about the short-term things, Kyle?
We are not sure right now. That's a great question. If I had an answer for you right now, we may have an answer in the next couple of days. Right now, we don't have a definitive answer on what his status is going to be the rest of the season.
Shoulder, upper body?
Upper body, yeah.
How important to you is it to have a quarterback that's vocal and as the leader of the team? Obviously, you've got somebody like a Britton Covey who's clearly been around the program as the leader of the team, but how important is it specifically in that position to have somebody do that for the offense?
Well, it is important, and you can lead in different ways, but at that particular position, you'd like to have the guy be vocal and a guy that is an alpha dog type of mentality. And, because leading by example is great, but it doesn't seem to be work as well at the quarterback spot as it does at other spots.
Who are you guys looking to turn to now that Bione's out? Who are some of the guys you?
Fortunately, we've got a pretty deep group of defensive tackles. We knew going into the season we had good depth there, and so between Kafusi kid, Devin Kafusi, and junior Tafuna, he played really well. He played really well on Saturday. And then you have the Putu Taus, Howard, Tennessee, and Fua. And then you have David Fotu, who's Lucky's younger brother, who we're toying with the idea of redshirting him, but we'll see if he gets pressed into action now. But we have plenty of bodies. It's just that you lose your number one tackle. That's, even no matter what your depth is, that's never a good thing. But you gotta respond. Next man up, and away you go.
You like the players that are players-only meeting yesterday?
I do, and I wasn't aware that it was going to happen until they came and talked to me afterwards, and it appeared to be very productive, and got some things hashed out, and I think it was a positive. We'll find out, if it helps us throughout the practice week and in the game, but certainly is a indicator that there's a lot of care and investment by them to do that. It wasn't encouraged; they did it on their own.
Do the players see that it's only been 3 weeks, there's only been one conference game in the South, but the South teams have been all over the map?
Yeah, it was a rough week for the South for sure. This week, I think USC was the only team that won, because Arizona State lost, Colorado, us, UC. Yeah, it was 1-5 for the South, and so it's up for grabs. And I think we haven't had our team meeting yet today, but we'll certainly make that known that the South is really no clear-cut favorite, at least at this point in time.
Are you able to definitively say how much that 2020 season impacted this year? Obviously, 5 games helps, but compared to maybe some of these other teams that got more exposure last year, have you seen that?
Well, we certainly would have liked 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more games, but I don't know what you can't do anything about it, and I guess we can say, well, we're grateful that we at least got 5 games, because those games were desperately needed by our team. But more would have been better, but we didn't get more. So what can you say?
You've always talked about you kind of know who you've got 3-4 games into the season. With so many question marks, do you know what you've got, and do you know what's there?
I think defensively we do. I think we seem to be starting to get our identity back, and and really, you say it's only been 3 games, but we're back certainly in much better position than we were after the last contest, as far as knowing who we are. But offensively is the big question right now. That's what we got to get solved, and if we can build on what we did in the last 7 minutes of the game and overtime, then that will be a big positive for us.
Any more questions?
Thanks, guys. All right.